I think clearly, I think a lot of noise has been done on the railway pack, on the defense pack. My sense is, I think the government is going to spend quite aggressively on, defense, on railways, on capital goods, on infrastructure in the sense, on construction infrastructure. So I think within the infrastructure space, we still would like to bet on the large cap names like Larsen and Toubro. I think we are clearly of the view that, a very strong order book and most importantly, working capital has also been pretty smooth in the last 2 to 3 quarters. If you ask me on the defense side, I think companies like Hindustan Aeronautics, Mazgaon Dock, or for that reason, Bharat Electronics. I think these are all companies which are sitting on a very healthy order book, and I think if incremental orders do come in, then I think you're going to see next another 2 to 3 years kind of revenue visibility coming in. I think this market will offer good opportunity for those investors who are willing enough to give some time ago. Easy money has been made earlier, but now I think one has to actually patiently wait because quarter 2 was not up to expectation. So I think all said and done, if one has the next 12 to 15 months time frame in mind, then I think these could be some of the stocks which I think, if the market corrects and which it has corrected, I think any decline should be used to accumulate it and build good portfolios here. Yeah, I think my guess is I think I would prefer to wait for at least a couple of more quarters before we see, strong growth kicking in. I think yesterday, the stock received a lot of big support, from the MSCI restructuring. But I think clearly, banking is going to be quite challenging. And I think unless and until we see a stronger growth trajectory from HDFC Bank, the stock is not, unlikely to get re-rated very soon. So I think probably the December and the March quarter are going to be critical. If at all we see some, green shoots and we see margins improving, obviously, both on the fee-based side as well as on the fund-based side, then I think the market should get a hint. But otherwise, the stock has been a big underperformer. I would prefer to hold. I mean, any correction or maybe one more quarter of performance, and that would give us a little more conviction to get it. I would be more comfortable, on the PSU banks, although there have been some talks that the PSU banks may underperform. But I think, banks like Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda, these are banks which are rock solid, where the balance sheet quality has also improved quite significantly. And I think, prices are available at very attractive valuations. So I think the downside here is much lesser. So I think, rightfully, I think some allocation could be done for the PSU pack. I think once numbers come in for the second half, I think market should obviously get a hint. No, I think clearly, Agam, macro tech seems to be quite well positioned because I think, Maharashtra government now since it's an absolute majority government, I think real estate is one pocket where I think you could see a lot of development happening. And I think there's a lot of latent demand which I think is going to throw up. And I think the second half typically for real estate companies is supposed to be a very strong quarter. So I think clearly Oberoi Realty, Macrotech, we have been telling our clients that these are excellent companies with very strong order book and good visibility. I think only thing earlier was the uncertainty on the political front, which now has ended. So I think clearly, if one were to take a medium to long term call here, I would suggest that in this kind of weak market, this is a sector where I would say stable to good returns are possible over the next, say, 6 to 12 months. So I think we are positive on real estate. In fact, on the overall real estate market, we're also positive on the large players like DLF or Anantaraj, from the NCR region, because we feel that a lot of infrastructure development is going to happen more on the commercial and the residential side. And definitely this is going to get reflected into better numbers. So I think investors who have to have a longer term call, I think, at least next 6 to 12 months, can definitely start accumulating. No, I think, see, the long-term runway is pretty solid. I think there's no doubt about it. But, in the very near term, I think it's got recently listed. So, I would wait for at least maybe a couple of quarters, understand the management's vision, the thought process, and the kind of data points which the company throws up. Because, Zomato has gone through the same process earlier. And I think now the management is clearly focused on profitability. Blinkit is also picking up pretty well. So, we are more constructive and positive on Zomato. Our sense is that, Swiggy may take a little more longer in breaking even and, recouping the losses into profits. Because I think that is something which the markets would obviously wait at some point of time. So I think, the momentum currently is in favor of Swiggy. Most of the institutions, the FIs are quite positive here. considering that there's a big discount of 30-35% to Zomato. But I think Zomato has delivered very well. So I would believe that, even as of now, somebody who wants to build a portfolio can probably wait for a couple of quarters as far as Swiggy is concerned. Zomato could be a better bet. I think Zomato, at least in the next 2 years, looks very well positioned to capture a large market. And I think with Blinkit doing pretty well, and Blinkit once it breaks even, I think that would further contribute to the bottom line.